My Hero Academia chapter 246 is really seeming to step on the gas a little bit. So we open up with Shigaraki talking to the doctor about getting what seems to be a power-up for sure. It's kind of hinted at that he's going to be possibly getting All for One, or at least a dose of it. Now, is he gonna do like Deku and get access to all these different quirks like All for One had? It's seeming this is just Horikoshi doing the whole, mirroring Deku with Shigaraki, just opposite viewpoints on society. Deku in the last training arc or whatever, he's got access to all these different quirks, and now it seems like Shigaraki is going to be getting in a lot more. And some more of that symbolism where it shows Shigaraki showing how his arm got destroyed almost just by going all out once, which we've seen happen to Deku numerous times before he learned how to kind of use his quirk differently. And some people are going to say that, well, Shigaraki's just going to take the easy way out and get all these powers pushed into him and somehow enhance his body in order to use it. And probably to an extent, but I think it's kind of the earlier scenes of Deku destroying his body is going to be in my opinion, foreshadowing that Shigaraki is going to learn how to use his quirk in different ways. Because the biggest thing with Shigaraki is he's going to have to learn how, I think when he becomes this super overpowered enemy that they will face at the end, he'll have to learn how to control what he destroys. And if Shigaraki learns how to control what he destroys at will, he'll be far more dangerous than he is even now by just being able to destroy things that come in contact with what he's destroying already. If he can just be able to single out a specific person in a crowd and just destroy them and not destroy everything else, that would be mind-bogglingly broken. Way more broken than he is now, and he's pretty freaking broken as it is. So I think that's foreshadowing. But the doctor said, oh well, the next few months you're going to be going 4 months, you're going to be in hellish agony and learning how to, or getting all these powers and such. At least that's what it's hinted at, and that he'll be able to hold All for One. Though he makes that remark of the power that All for One could never fully control. It seemed that hinted that Shigaraki will be able to master whatever All for One couldn't. Which I'm not really sure. Maybe it was just because his All for One's body was really banged up. But I think the doctor is going to see Shigaraki as a way to finally fulfill the research he started with All for One. And then the doctor also made the mention about the human singularity or the quirk singularity, and references to the fourth generation, where pretty much people's quirks are becoming more diverse and interconnected, and that eventually humans won't be able to evolve to use them, I guess, without destroying themselves, or that quirks will become eventually like a virus that'll start killing people. I'm not really sure how to interpret what he meant. I think it's just kind of dropping some breadcrumbs that eventually we're going to see a decline of quirks in order to save humanity. Excuse me. Which is actually, if we look back, is set up somewhat in the previous arc, before the training arc with Overhaul and Eddie, where Lemillion got stabbed with that serum that drained his quirk. Maybe Horikoshi is trying to tell us that by doing that, and then what was mentioned here, that eventually that quirks are eventually going to lead to the downfall of society and become a virus is the only way that comes to mind. But that seems like an odd connection there. That we just got introduced a couple arcs back to something that takes away quirks, and now we're saying that there are being too many quirks. That just doesn't seem like a coincidence. I think Horikoshi is hinting at something really big for the end. Endeavor catching on to what Hawks is saying. 4 months, get the people ready. I'll send you another signal before then, but get the kids ready because shit's about to hit the fan, and if we fail, they're the last line of defense. We gotta go. It's really cool seeing Endeavor. Just he busts out at the end of the chapter. He's like, "You three with me, let's go." That's awesome. Glad to see Endeavor's taking this seriously. Oh, because it is going to be a rough fight without All for One, and it's going to be rough having Hawks having to try and play both sides because we see him in there like they wouldn't even let him into the cafeteria. So it's like, yeah, the CEOs are like, "Oh, hey, you're spreading the gospel of the Liberation Army," and seems to really trust Hawks. But I mean, obviously, we know Skeptic most likely doesn't. But it seems like there's other people either through orders by Skeptic or just their own concerns. I don't really know. But I think the part where he's not allowed into the cafeteria, not everybody trusts Hawks, and we've seen that the CEO is a little, infatuated with Shigaraki, and I think that Shigaraki not really throwing any doubt on Hawks at the moment. The CEO is just like, fine, he's cool, whatever. That's just my take on it. But it's interesting to note that Hawk said that his smaller feathers wouldn't be able to pick up all the details or key points being mentioned far from the further he gets away. So Horikoshi's probably going to pull some Oda-like writing here and give us some tidbits of what's being said and then leave out some of the bigger key points. But that's just good writing. But one thing that I want to touch on is I don't really think that some people will say that, we're setting up for the final battle. Shigaraki says, the next time I see them, I'll eliminate all those dregs All Might left behind. My Hero Academia is going to be ending soon. I do not see that. I mean, I was wrong. We were all pretty much, wrong with Bleach because it was like, oh man, there's all this training we got to do. Nope, Bleach is over. Or with what was the other one I was gonna say? Well, it escapes me. But I feel like there's too much still to happen that it's going to be wrapped up. And The Promised Neverland, that's the other one I was going to say. I thought it was going to go on a lot longer. We're in the last arc. Whatever, I digress. But I just don't see it ending anytime soon. And some people like to make a connection that, oh, well, Horikoshi said there won't be any more movies. And, I mean, how long, to go back to Bleach, we only had 4 Bleach movies, the Hellverse, and then the manga still went on for years upon years after that. But I don't know. I mean, but the one thing I think is interesting to note is that Horikoshi said that the fight in the upcoming movie was based on a concept he had for the final fight of the manga. And just my personal opinion on this is that as long as it's not Shigaraki as the main villain of the movie, which I doubt it will be, because that just wouldn't really make a lot of sense, it's probably an idea that Horikoshi had for after the schoolboy arc, if you will. I mean, they're like what, the second years, maybe third years. I don't think they're still like freshmen at UA. I mean, I'm not really sure how long they've been at the academy. I'm pretty sure they're at least their second year, and I highly doubt that we're going to end My Hero Academia before they get out of school. I mean, at the beginning, we're told by Deku, this is the story of how I became the greatest hero. Well, there's still lots of things you'll have to do in order to prove yourself as the best hero after you get to school. Because even Lemillion was suited up for being the next possessor by All Might, and even he, as good as he was struggling in the fight against Overhaul. Although, I mean, Overhaul was a cheat and a piece of garbage and all that, but it just proves that even Lemillion had more to prove. So I'm not buying into this being leading up to the final arc. I mean, I think there will be some people to die in the war to come. You have that has to happen to really prove how powerful and deadly Shigaraki is going to be. But maybe that concept that Horikoshi talked about in the movie is just him hinting at what could come after the school arc or the school story is wrapped up, and what we could see as Deku and his friends become professional heroes. And maybe it'll end with an adult Shigaraki versus an adult Denku. I would really like that. But 4 months is not enough time for Deku to master all these quirks. And if these 4 months are going to give Shigaraki more power, I doubt he'll have complete mastery over that either. 4 months is not enough time for Shigaraki to master his quirk. I don't think. I could be wrong, but to the level that I think it needs to be at. And I certainly don't think it's enough time for Deku to fully master his 7 or 8 or whatever many new quirks he's got. Not to mention, I'm sure we're going to start seeing some of the other characters getting new quirks or being able to use them in new ways. And we're even getting to see a little bit more Class B. So I think it's just 4 months until the next big showdown. And, Shigaraki just saying, I'll eradicate all the dregs. I think that's just a hint that there is going to be some death. But I don't think it means it's going to be the final confrontation, personally. I mean, I could see, as long as Horikoshi stays in good health and, he doesn't go mad doing it like Togashi or Ishida. I think I could see My Hero going on at least 400 chapters, maybe 500 before it wraps up. That seems logical to me. Maybe between 370 and 400, but it just seems too short for me. There's still a lot to be done, and we still have to see them in their professional lives, because it doesn't make sense to me to have the time skip of the final battle to them becoming, great heroes. Like, oh, they beat Shigaraki. Like 10 years later, Deku's the #1, and he's handing it off. I could see it ending with him handing the one off to the next kid, Or I personally believe it's probably going to end with quirks no longer being a thing. I think that's kind of being foreshadowed here. I've mentioned that earlier. But, there would be so much to happen in between that would be left out that I feel would be an injustice to the story itself. So, I don't think it's 4 months. I don't think it's leading up to the final arc. I think it's just, the next big thing that's going to go down, Shigaraki power up. There's going to be a fight. There will be some deaths, but I don't think it's going to be the finale. I think there's more to come. And I think we're starting to get some breadcrumbs drawn for us that eventually quirks will no longer be a thing by the end of the story. But that's all I got for this one. We will see what Horikoshi has in store for us in the next chapter. Thank you.